Was trotting pony pufflers. Welcome back to Monkey Boys Toys, and welcome back to the sofa. Thanks very much for joining me again. Now, you may remember at Christmas I gifted Skeletor a toy from the 1980s, and I said that we would review it fairly soon, and that time has now come. Skeletor isn't with us today. He's filming stuff for his own channel, but he has given me permission to review this vehicle today. So without further ado, let's bring it in. It is the Starcom Shadow Bat vehicle. Nice. Now, this toy line was produced in sort of 1986 and 1987 by a company called Coleco, and it was a short-lived toy line because it was discontinued by Coleco after a couple of years due to sort of poor sales. The full name of the toy line was Starcom, the US Space Force. In 1987 there was a 13-episode half-season cartoon made by Deke, which was co-developed with NASA's Young Astronaut Council. But ironically, given its name, Starcom, the US Space Force, the toys never really caught on in the US, mainly due to the poor promotion. The toys were hugely popular in Europe and Southeast Asia, but that was mainly after Mattel took over the line. Mattel removed the US flag and the NASA details from the toys and relaunched the line in the early 1990s. Now, the vehicles and playsets had some quite complex engineering. Many of them featured sort of spring-loaded clockwork-like mechanisms and sort of motorized resistors that worked under tension. Now, the small figures that were available had magnets on their feet, which allowed them to attach to the vehicles in sort of various points. And in some cases they were able to interact with the play sets and vehicles. Unfortunately, I don't actually have any of the figures to show you, I'm afraid, but the magnets on the bottom of the figure's feet used to sometimes interact with the toys. It was called Magna-Lock technology, and sometimes you would stand the figures on the play sets and it would cause hidden mechanisms to operate and hidden features to come into play. As I said, I don't have any of the figures, so I can't really show you that. This particular vehicle doesn't have any of the Magna-Lock features, so that's okay. Maybe I'll pick up some of the figures in the future. They were about 2 inches high. I think they were 5 POA little figures. They were quite cool, but I don't actually have any of those. Now, in the toy line, there were two factions. There was the heroic Starcom and the evil Shadow Force Starmada. Now, this vehicle is one of the Shadow Force vehicles, and this is the Shadow Bat. Now, we'll have a look at some of the features of the toy, but I'd just like to point out at the beginning, this is not the Shadow Bat that you would have bought in the shops. Actually, when the Shadow Bat was initially available, it was just as it appears here. It didn't have the two vehicles at the back. We'll bring those back in again in a little while, but we'll have a look at some of the features of the Shadow Bat. This is a battle cruiser, and it does have several weapon systems on it that I can show you. The first weapon systems that it has are these wing-mounted turrets. Now, these are para laser cannons, and they move backwards and forwards here. Mine are a little bit bent, so I might have to pop these off and give them the hot water treatment just to sort of straighten those lasers out a bit. But obviously they easily pop off here and they're easily lost. So if you're buying one of these on the secondary market, make sure it's got those cannons on the side. The next weapons that are in it are actually concealed in the side of the vehicle here, and they're activated by pushing these buttons. If you press the button, these lasers pop out at the side like so, and these are called jolt cannons, and they're electromagnetic pulse weapons. Again, so they're just sort of activated by pressing those buttons at the side, and they pop out, so they're quite nice. The other weapon that this vehicle features is on the top here. Now, if you look at the top of the vehicle, there's a sticker here, and it says danger, and there's a little arrow. Well, if you push that arrow, this section flips up and round, and it reveals a decimator cannon, which is a heat ray. Now, the end of this cannon does actually pull out like so and extends a little bit. So that's a rear-facing weapon, but that's mainly the weapon systems on the Shadow Bat. Let's just fold those back in for now, and pop the side jolt cannons back in. The other feature that this vehicle has is a cargo bay underneath here, which holds. It can hold either cargo boxes or small vehicles. Now, normally you would press this button at the back here, and the cargo bay would come down slowly, as sort of one of these motorized resistors is inside, and it would come down sort of like so. Unfortunately, mine doesn't work correctly anymore, and I've been informed that perhaps some of the teeth in the cogs have been stripped, so actually when you press the button on mine, it comes down rather violently, but we'll do that now anyway and have a look. So I'll press the button and we'll see the cargo bay open. Boom! So that's rather violent, and out fell a Shadow Invader vehicle, which sits inside here. Now, ordinarily, of course, this would come down. You can hear the mechanism here. Listen, it normally would come down very slowly like that, and then you would have. There's a little button here just at the front, and you would press that, and it would cause the vehicle to roll out. We'll have a look at the Shadow Invader in a moment, but yeah, that's the cargo bay. You could stand. These sections here are magnetic, so you could stand troops here if you preferred, but I've got the Shadow Invader that fits inside here. We'll close the cargo bay up again, and then we'll have a quick look at the Shadow Invader before we have a look at the sort of my favourite parts of the vehicle, which are the two Shadow Parasites that sit on the top. Let's just have a quick look at the Shadow Invader. Now, this didn't come with the Shadow Bat, but this is one of the vehicles that is able to store in the cargo bay. This is a nice sort of, I guess it's a kind of like a buggy type thing. Again, I don't have any figures. There normally would be a figure sitting here in the seat, but this toy was quite nice. It's got rubber tyres. It's a very compact, nice looking little vehicle. To transform this, you simply pop out the back wheel like this, which also causes this cannon to pop out of the back, and the cannon extends here if you pull here, so the cannon is like so. The front wheels also pop out, and then underneath there are two sort of levers or whatever you call it here, and you can just flick those forward. My hand's in the way, but you flick those forward and it extends these guns at the front, like so, and there's another one on the other side here, and that just extends the gun out. And then you've got your Shadow Invader vehicle, which was quite a nice little thing. Now, this did have a pull back and go feature where you would pull it back, and then the wheels would turn forward, but mine due to age, isn't working properly anymore. It's started to get a bit seized, but if I rotate the wheel back, you can see it does sort of spin forward. So you could pull this back and then let it whiz off. So yeah, let's fold that back into its compact mode. Take it out of attack mode. And then that slots back inside there like so. Let's just deploy the cargo bay again with a rather violent whack. Boom! It shouldn't be that fast. And then we'll put the Shadow Invader back inside the Shadow Bat. And then let's have a look at my favourite part of this vehicle, which is the Shadow Parasite vehicles. Now, these were available separately, and they attach via magnets here on the bottom to the Shadow Bat, so that when it's in, you can turn it upside down and they don't fall out. So there's two of them, and they fit on the wings like this, and it really does transform the Shadow Bat into quite a imposing vehicle. Now, the Shadow Bat does house up to 4 characters. I think 4 characters. There's little buttons here that pop the canopies open, and so you can fit a figure in each one of these. You might even be able to get 2 figures in the front. Now I'm not quite sure. As I say, I don't have the figures, so I can't really test that out. But the 2 cockpits open like so, and the cockpits on the Shadow Parasites also open. If you press this button at the side, they flip up and allow the positioning of 2 more sort of pilots in the Shadow Parasites. We'll close that up. But the best feature about these Shadow Parasites is their motorized feature. You press this button here at the side, and it causes these back jet thrusters to extend outwards. The corners of the wings, these triangles at the edge, rotate outwards, and then 2 guns appear at the front. So we'll do that action now, so you can see how that works. Boing! So that's pretty cool. I'll do that again just in case you missed it. So keep an eye on these wing bits folding out. It's quite clever, the mechanism, how it does it. It sort of does it in sequence. The back extends out, the wing tips rotate around to the side, and then when that's completed, the guns pop out at the front here. So let's do that again and have a look, which is pretty cool. Now these guns do extend. If you pull them, they extend a little bit. It's a little bit fiddly, but as you can see, those guns do pull out at the side. And yeah, there's the Shadow Parasite. Quite a nifty looking vehicle. I quite like these on their own. They look pretty cool. Just remember to put the guns back in before you fold the sides back, and then you simply press this inwards at the back and it closes the wings up. But it's a very satisfying transformation. Let's do it another time. Whee! Boing! So that's pretty cool. The other one that I've got doesn't work quite as well. Because these mechanisms are kept under tension the whole time, over the years they seem to weaken and don't work as well, unfortunately. The best way to actually display these would be separately and fully deployed like this, and then the springs aren't under tension, and they would last a lot longer. But unfortunately, when you have the vehicle on the Shadow Bat, it needs to be folded in, otherwise it doesn't sit down in the proper slot. So yeah, anyway, there's there's the Shadow Bat with the Shadow Parasite vehicles. I hope you enjoyed having a bit of a look at that. And yeah, so that's probably about the end of the video. I'll let you get on with your day. If you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with any other pony pufflers you may know. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of the vehicle. Do you have any Starcom vehicles? Which ones were your favourite? I don't think I'll be getting many more because they're very expensive on the secondary market and they do take up quite a lot of space, but I'm very pleased to have this one in the collection. And yeah, there we go. So yeah, until next week, I'm going to make like a shepherd and get the flock out of here. See you later. Bye.